Hey everyone, Sheila here from Life for Pets. So today's video is going to be an update video. It is one I have been putting off for quite a while now with sort of all that's been going on, but I feel that it's now time to sort of update you guys in just what's been happening, particularly with our betta fish. So I'm going to start with a tank that is a positive tank, and then we'll go from there and we'll just go around all the tanks and I'll just tell you what's going on with them, and that's the good, the bad, the ugly and everything else. So let's start with a tank that's really positive and then let's go from there. So Belfin is doing well in this tank, so I'm not going to show this one for too long because I've just done a video on this tank, but this is our Aranda and he is doing amazing. He really likes this tank. If you want to see the setup of this tank and sort of what we used and what we did and all the links, I will leave a link in the top iCard. Okay, so moving on to the snail tank, and again I'm not going to stay too long on this one because I have just recently done a video on this one. Nothing's changed in this one except we do have babies, but that is for another video. So let's get on to all the issues that we're having that I just really didn't want to have to deal with and talk about. I do feel that it is important that we do talk about the bad along with the good. And we have been having an issue for a while, as many of you know, with one of our betta fish. And unfortunately, we did have to euthanize him a few days ago. And the problem that we seem to be having is the other betta fish, except for the one that was in the tank with him, have now got the same issue. And that includes Minnie, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but on this side here, her gill has raised up. She doesn't seem to have any issues with the eye, it just seems to be around the gill. And also we're having the same issue with Jasmine as well. And I just do not understand what is going on. We do not use the same stuff for doing water changes and things like that. We use completely different equipment for all of the tanks. So I really don't think that it can be a cross-contamination, but it's very odd that it is just the betta fish. We don't have any issues with the snails or the fish in the 75-gallon as well. We only have an issue with the betta fish. I have just finished treating Jasmine, and at the moment she does appear to be okay, but she did have the eye issue just like Bandit and also the gill issue. Now the only thing that I can come up with is the water. Now I know that might sound a little odd, but right before we started having the issues with Bandit, we got a notice from the water company to say that they were going to be doing a different type of water treatment for about 2 to 2.5 months. And this is only something that I've just remembered that changed, and when I looked at all the dates, it has matched up with when Bandit started getting sick, and obviously now all these have started getting sick as well. So to say I am frustrated doesn't even begin to cover it, because I just feel that it's not something that I do have any control on. As you can see, she is perfectly fine and healthy. It was just the eye started to blow up just like Bandit's did, and the gill started to come up just like Bandit's did. So I really don't know exactly what is going on. I don't know whether there's something in the water that isn't being fully treated, and because betta fish generally are very sensitive fish and susceptible to getting sick, I don't know whether that is the issue or what is going on, because like I say, none of the other fish are sick at all. I'm trying to get a close-up here for you on Minnie so you can see what I'm talking about, but I don't know whether you can actually see how the gill is raised here. Now she is an older betta fish, but obviously Jasmine isn't and Bandit wasn't either. But this is the only thing that I can think of, because I am 100% certain that there is no cross-contamination. But it just doesn't make sense to me that it's only the betta fish. But then, like I say, they can be very sensitive fish, and I don't know whether you can see it there now, sort of the gill raised. The only one who hasn't been affected by all this is Theo, and he is perfectly fine. Now, he does have a tumour growing, but that has been sort of something that's been going on with him for a while. He is an old betta fish, and so I think that that is possibly something that's just going to come with age. But he is still very, very active, behaving perfectly normal, eating very well. And so that is just going to be one of those things. I do add almond leaf into here. I actually do the boiling of them and then add in just like the water with the almond leaves in. And it's not really made that much difference, but I do think overall it possibly will help. But as you can see, he is perfectly active. I don't have anyone in on Bandit's side right now because I just don't think that it would be very responsible at this point to bring in some more betta fish, because I really don't know what is going on. I have just done a very large water change on this tank, and I'm going to thoroughly clean the filters and do all that sort of stuff. But up to this point, I don't plan on getting any more bettas anytime soon until we figure out just what is going on. Now, I think the water is supposed to be going back to regular treatments. I think it's either this week or next week actually, and so I'm just hoping that everything will go back to normal. Hopefully we can get the betta fish looking good, and then we won't have any issues. With this tank, again, no issues whatsoever. Fish are perfectly fine. Shrimp are doing well. I should have maybe fed them and then they would have all been at the front, but these are all doing great. In fact, one of the females just had some babies a few days ago. So we have, I think there's about 10 to 15 little ones swimming around in here, and this tank is doing amazing. In fact, I think I am going to do some sort of little makeover on it. I think it needs trimming way back. But again, these fish are doing perfectly fine as well. And also the ones in the 75 gallon are also doing okay. So like I say, I really don't understand what's going on. The only thing I can come up with is the water issue, in that they had changed the treatment. I can't be certain on that, but that's the only thing that sort of makes any sense to me, just because it makes no sense that it's just the betta fish, not the other fish. And that, like I say, I do make sure that I use completely separate equipment. The equipment is also bleached, and so I am certain that there has been no cross-contamination. So if this is anything that you guys have experienced at all, where you've had something that just affects betta fish and not the other fish, then please let me know. If you've got any suggestions, also please let me know. I have tried all sorts of different treatments. Nothing seems to work. What seems to happen is it gets them better for a while, and then they just start up again once the treatment is no longer. I have done the soaking their food in the garlic as well, and again, that's not made any difference in sort of helping with bacterial infections or things like that. So I am totally at a loss to why. I just couldn't believe it when I realised that Jasmine was looking like she was going to go the same way. That just completely sort of destroyed me. I just wanted to give up, you know. I was so done. I was so over having the sick fish, and how are we going to deal with this? And it does make it a lot harder as well when you're on YouTube, and you know, people think that you're supposed to get everything right and everything goes perfect, and that's just not the case. We have issues just like everybody else, and we have to work through them. So I do think that it is very important that you show when things aren't working out or when things have happened, instead of sort of trying to hide them. So this is what's going on with us right now. Needless to say, we will not be breeding anytime soon, and I don't plan on breeding this girl now that she has been sick and has started sort of the same issues. She will just be a pet betta fish, and a gorgeous one at that, because let's face it, she is absolutely gorgeous. We do have some different snails coming this week, and I will do an unboxing on that. I cannot wait to get them. I am so excited about them, and we are hoping to breed them, so that will be good as well. The breeding of the snails is going really well, and hopefully we will have babies for sale on our website very soon. Alright guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.